my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. It is Monday, March 18th, 2024. And got a number of varied topics for you this morning. One video clip. And I thought I'd start off with a song that I wrote back in 1987. And quite honestly, I might have played it once on the channel, or maybe twice, maybe in some video somewhere. I mean, I didn't play it live. In fact, I don't remember playing it live since 1991. I wrote it in 87, as I mentioned. And in 91, there was a contest put on by McDonald's, McDonald's restaurants. And it was in the St. Louis area. It was going to be held at the Fox Theater in downtown St. Louis, or it's in the outskirts of downtown, really. But anyway, at the Fox Theater on Grand Boulevard. And the Fox Theater is a big deal. It's huge auditorium. It's, 4,500 seating, something like that. All the big acts go there and play and stuff. Well, anyway, they were holding a contest, and the winners, the chosen winners, would play live on the Fox Theater stage. And it was a gospel music contest, and they auditioned people for several weeks. There were over 500 entries. We were just one of the 500, and they chose 20 acts to play there. And so the way they did the auditions, it was just like putting cattle through a chute. You just lined up and you did your 3 minutes little audition, and then you just said see ya and then left, and you just leave. That's all you know. And then you're hoping you get a call back. Well, we got our call back, and we ended up getting to play on the stage there at the Fox Theater, which blew me completely away. Never dreamed ever that would happen with over 500 entries. Just thought we'd be lost in the shuffle. But fortunately, we did get to play there. It was really cool because in the catacombs of the Fox Theater, down below the stage, they have just dozens of little rehearsal rooms, or whatever you want to call it. And all the walls and everything are lined with all the signatures of all the big stars that had played on the Fox. And I mean, there were just thousands upon thousands of names. I can't even remember the names that we saw, but pretty much anybody you've ever heard of that was in the entertainment business had their name there. I mean, like people like Bob Hope and, things like that. Everybody was there. Everybody's name was on there. It was pretty cool to get to see all that. But anyway, we did our 3 minutes of fame there on the stage, and it went pretty well. And this was the song. Now, this song here is the song we auditioned with. We did not play this song on the stage. We actually played "Crying Holy" on the stage. But this song was a song I wrote, and this is the one we used in our audition. And this is called "Crown of Thorns." And this song came from a story my mother had told us when we were kids about the Dogwood Tree, the legend of the Dogwood Tree. Now, this is a legend that's in the Ozarks. I don't know if this legend goes any further than the Ozarks. I have no idea. But it is definitely a legend in the Ozarks. And it goes like this. Have you ever seen a dogwood tree growing wild in the woods? This story goes, that little tree once grew so large, no more you see. That little dogwood tree so small once made a cross for one and all, and it had thorns that made a crown for our king, so heaven bound. blooms. It blooms so white and tenderly. It is a symbol of his life and his kingdom way up high. That little dogwood tree so small once made a cross for one and all, and it had thorns that made a crown for our king so heaven bound. That little dogwood tree so small once made a cross for one and all, and it had thorns that made a crown for our king so heaven bound. And I don't remember the whole story that my mother told us, but part of the story was that the tree once grew large, and after the crucifixion, it was made small. I mean, it was never to grow large again. The thorns were removed, and the little flower symbol, if you've ever seen it, it looks like a cross. So anyway, that was, those are some of the bits of the story that I can still remember when my mother told us. It was years ago when she told us, and like I said, I wrote the song years later after that. But anyway, I played that on the auction mandolin here, and this is a really nice mandolin. If anybody gets this, they're going to be really happy. If there is a negative, and I'm not even really calling it a negative, the neck is a little larger than your standard neck. You can feel it's a little bigger. Now, if you got big hands, it's great. If you got tiny hands, I'm willing to reduce the size of the neck to any size you want, and I won't charge you for that. Now, the only thing is, I will not put a finish on the neck. I will smooth it out, stain it to match, and I will oil it. And you will like that as a playing neck better anyway. The finishes, your hand kind of sticks to that, and when you have it oiled, a slick wood finish, your hand slides just like glass. It's just a night and day difference. So you will actually like the neck better, and that's why violins and cellos and all that, they don't have finish on their necks. So it's no different than that, and there are lots of mandolins without finishes on their necks, so it's not anything uncommon. That's name of that. Let me just move on here. I'm going to play you just a little bit of one more tune just so you can hear the mandolin. Well, that's the way I play Nashville blues anyway. Not real good, but that's what I do. That was in D minor, in case you were wondering. The thing about playing minors on a mandolin the way I do it, and this is the way I do it. I'm not saying this is the way you should do it. I'm just telling you this is how I do it. And that is that pretty much any minor song can be played out of the three... darn microphone is such a pain. Pretty much any minor song can be played in the three frets that you're noting when you play your. See, like any chord you make, if you make in the Bill Monroe style chord, if you just back this finger up one fret, it's a minor. So there's D, D major, and then D minor. So any song that I play in minors, I basically play them out of those three frets. I hardly move out of those three frets. So I'll just do it a little bit slower and let you watch that I mostly just stay in those three frets. And the reason that I went there, that D major, is that that's part of the song. It has a D major in it real quick there. But anyway, just thought I'd show you that. In almost any minor song you come up against, you can do that. You can play it out of those same 3 frets that you're making the chord in. You just move up and down those frets, playing the different notes in those frets, and you can pretty much play just about any minor song there is. You know, there's always exceptions. And again, some people are going to say, but that's very limiting. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know that. You're looking at King Limited right here on the mandolin. Okay, moving on. The auction. Well, before we get to that, we're playing live. We'll be live at Dickey's tomorrow evening from 6 to 8:30, and that's Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Rolla, Missouri. If you're available and you're in the area, be sure to stop in. We'll be there from 6 to about 8:30. The live auction is going on. That mandolin is one of the instruments of the 3, and there's a Taylor classical guitar, and it's presently at $750, which is a steal deal if you ask me, because that thing looks like brand new. It really does. It's just like cherry condition. The Martin guitar D25 is up in very good shape. It's got a lot of little nicks and scratches as you would expect for a 1980 guitar. It's been played a lot. I did a complete fret job on it and leveled them and recrowned them, and it's up in perfect shape really for playing. It's perfect. That Martin D25K sounds really good too. It's a good sounding Martin guitar. And then of course the Rosa mandolin, you just heard it. It's at $32.50 right now. I did make some progress on a number of things with the computers and stuff like that over the weekend, and I'm really happy. It's really taken stress off of me because there's just been so much to keep up with, and this, by rearranging things and getting things changed around, it's really helped me a lot. But before I get to that, I did get that, that story I showed you, the full page article on my great-great-great-grandfather, Franklin Rosa, who came from Genoa, Italy, and he was one of the first pioneers in Reynolds County, Missouri. It's a real long article, mostly about him, but then it kind of wanders off and talks about just the way life was back then. So it's a really interesting article about pioneer life, and it kind of circles around Franklin Rosa quite a bit, and Fanny Rosa, she's in the story a number of times as well. But anyway, it's pretty well written, pretty good story, a little bit flowery, but it was written for the time. And anyway, I have that story now completely posted out on my website. If you just go to www.rosastringworks.com and click on the Franklin Rosa tab, then you can just read the whole thing. And it's like 9 typed pages long, so it's very big, long story. So anyway, if you're interested, though, I think you'll like it. If you like history at all, you'll love to read it, I think. Let's see. I mentioned about the computer and stuff. I had mentioned or asked if anybody knew of a program that would clone a program from one computer to another, and someone said that that's not possible. Well, it is possible, and we did it. And there is a program out there, and for the life of me, I can't think of the name of it right now. I should have wrote it down here. It's called Ease Us to Do PC Trans. What a weird name. EASEUS space TODO and then PC Trans. PC Trans is all jammed together there. Anyway, it's a great program. Man, it worked great. And I'm going to, I didn't buy it yet. You can trial it for a while, but I'm going to go ahead and buy it because it saved me as much money as the program's costing. So, I'm going to go ahead and buy it and support them because it's pretty cool that it really did work well. So in other words, I moved my accounting program then from the computer down there since I couldn't find my disk. I do have the disk somewhere, or at least I did have. Like I said, I loaned them out to Melissa, and I'm pretty sure she brought them back. Anyway, I couldn't find them. And so that cloning thing worked. It took a little bit of extra tweaking on my end to get it to work, but it worked. And it's awesome. I've been using it. So I got caught up on my bookkeeping. It's much easier to stay caught up right here than it is to back and forth and all that. So that fixed that. I need to get started on my taxes. I did get caught up on quite a few emails and things too, although I'm not ever going to get totally caught up on that. You saw that I released a video on Oliver's brakes on his wagon, and I had a lot of comments on that, and quite a few of them were telling me how to do the brake job. Well, most of the comments that I got that were telling me how to do it, I didn't agree with them at all. One of them was saying, well, you should have went to town and just bought new brake cylinders. Well, it's a 40-mile round trip to town. If I did that, that's, you're talking at least an hour there tied up for that. It only took me probably a total of an hour and a half to do the whole brake job on both sides. The first one was the longest. It probably took me a little over an hour to do the first side, but the second side I did in about 15 minutes. It was really fast because I knew exactly what to do. And so the point is that if I went to town and bought the new cylinders, first of all, they might not have even had them. So we might have made a wasted time, trip into town. Might have had to wait a few days to get them. He needed it the next day. The other thing is that even if they did have them in stock and I brought them home, well, then I have to undo those old lines. And those old lines, they're fine if you don't mess with them. But you go messing with them and you can break them easily. And if you break them, then now you're going back to town again to get new lines and all the time it would take for that. So in the long run, it was way faster. And this will last as long as Oliver will ever last. That brake job will last that long. So it's it wasn't a compromise or anything. And we didn't have to spend the extra money on top of it. So it was a win-win-win all the way around, in case you're wondering why I did what I did. Sadie's video. I have one, and this is the best one so far. So I think you'll like this one. She really did well this time. Now I took her out again after this. Not so much. But this time she did really well. So take a look. All right, I've thrown the deer antler out in the fields. Let's see if Sadie will cooperate today. Come on. Let's go get them. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Come on, hunt them up. Hunt them up. Look for them. Let's find them. Well, that's the first time she's went out in front of me like that. Hunt them up. Get them. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Look at her. She found it. Look at there. Bring it here. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Here, I got a little treat for you this time. Sit, 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 sit. You got to sit. Okay. Nope, sit. Sit. God, about to take my hand off. All right. Good girl. Good girl. Hunt him up. Hunt him up. Hunt him up. Oh, she's still chewing. Hunt him up. Hunt him up. Go get him. Hunt him up. Look at there. She's going to go get it. Bring it here. Good job. Bring it here. Good girl. You drop it right there. That's a good job. Good job. Yeah. Okay. Sit. Sit. Let me get the treat. Sit. I can't get it out of my pocket. I got too much to hold on to. Sit. 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 God, you're about to take your hand off. She just... Okay. All right. Here, let me have them. Oh my gosh. It's too much. Too much. All right. I'm going to leave these over here on the bench so that we can go. All right. Hunt them up. Come on. Come on. Nope. 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 Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. We're going to go backwards this time. Oh, she sees one over there. She's going to go get that one. All right. Good girl. Bring it here. Bring it here. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. Yeah, that's the best you've ever done, really. Okay, sit, 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 sit. God dang it. There, she found it. All right. Gee whiz. All right, hunt them up. Hunt them up. Go get them. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. I think she's going to find it. She did. Come on. Bring it here. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. She says, I don't care about that. Give me the treat. That's the problem with the treat thing. All right. Sit. Sit. She got it. Oh, my gosh. She about takes your hands off. All right, go hunt up the other one. Hunt them up. Come on, hunt them up. Come on. Oh no, here we go with the itching thing again. Oh my gosh. May have to find out if she's got some kind of bug or something. Come on. Come on, hunt them up. Hunt them up. Let's go get them. Get him. Get him. Look at it. She's going to probably find it. She did. She found it. Bring it here. Bring it here. Good girl. Bring it here. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Drop it. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. That's the best you've done so far. I have to say, that's the best. And she's sitting already. She already knows. Okay, here you go. Whoop, sit, sit. Golly, dog. Take a guy's hand off. All right. Well, that's officially the best she's done. She got all 5 of them without any distractions. Yeah, and her teeth are like needles. I mean, they really are. She's not biting you, but like if her teeth if it just hits your hand, it hurts. I mean, it hurts. It's like somebody stabbing you with a needle real fast. That's exactly what it feels like. Oh man, she's got some sharp chompers there. Anyway, moving on down here, let me see what else did I want to tell you about, or if I've got anything else. I did spend a few hours metal detecting. I found a couple things that are notable. I think I did find another round ball. I found a couple other little trinket things that are hardly worth mentioning, but I haven't cleaned them up yet. When I clean them up, I might show them to you, depending on what I think they are once I get them cleaned up. I did cut some more firewood. It's got down to 24 degrees last night. I never get done cutting firewood, it seems like, but getting close anyway, I think. And I think that's everything I was going to cover this morning. So let's go to the comments and see where we're at. Oh, Rod back at the top there, man. He just snuck in there. Wayne Blitz was number 2 from Ohio. And there's Chuck Highbrother from St. James and Kathy Voles. Carolyn Fike again. Moving down, looking for... Yeah, she says Carolyn says she's praying for Dottie. She goes into the hospital this morning. Yeah, we're thinking of you, Dottie. I've been praying for you. Bill Webb is there, a good friend. I think Bill's coming back again, I saw. I think he's coming back in June, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, moving on down. After we went live, it looks like Walt Willard was the first one. Bill Webb has some question marks. I have to have the video going on my phone with the sound turned down so I can comment while watching the live show on my 65-inch TV. Yeah, I've kind of done that a few times myself. Yeah, it's crazy that you can't comment on the TVs as easy as it should be easy. I mean, again, it's one of those programming things. I'm positive if I was a programmer, I could program it to do that. I mean, you've already got, the voice remote, or at least my TV does. I have a voice remote, and I can hunt for any program on there by voice, and I can search by voice. So if that's the case, I can also type by voice, and I should be able to click on comment and type in a comment. I mean, but it ain't there yet for some reason. I don't know why. It should be. But like I said, if you can define it, and defining is the key word. Can you define the scope of the project? If you can define it, then you can program it. It's just about that black and white. And so for that program to transfer those files up here, I don't know how they did it, but they did it slick, and it was quick. I was amazed. I thought there ain't no way that, I mean, it surprised me more than you'll ever know. I mean, when it said transfer complete, I went, yeah, right. There's no way that's going to work. Well, the first time it didn't, I'll be honest. But I think I might have screwed it up because when I got up here, I wasn't thinking it all through, and I think I clicked on the wrong icon or something. Well, actually, it probably would have worked now that I think about it, because it turned out there was another problem. I kept getting this error message that said, the administrator has blocked this program from you for your safety or whatever. I'm like, what the heck? I've never seen this stupid message before. So I searched on that, and there was a guy out on YouTube that showed how to fix that problem. And so I thought, well, I'll try this fix, but I doubt this is going to work. And sure enough, I tried the fix, and it did work. And then the program started working. But what I was skeptical about, because it worked so fast, I thought there's no way it will have put all those, I mean, there was probably at least 50, because I was probably up to around 40, and I hadn't got to the end of it yet, lines that had to be put into the registry. And I thought there's no way that program's going to run unless this copy program went out there and put all this in the registry. Well, apparently it did, because it works perfectly. I was just blown away, absolutely blown away. Well, anyway, now there's also, for those of you who are thinking this already, there is plenty of ways you can abuse a program like that, and you can steal software and all that. That's not what I'm about. I'm not out to go out and steal software. I mean, you're looking at the guy that, drove back to Family Center just, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, you charged me for one bag of popcorn, and I bought 10. And so I paid them for their rest. There's no point in stealing anything. What goes around comes around. So I don't steal nothing. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pay them for this program because it worked that well. Bill Rhodes says, good morning, Jerry. How was the parade? Well, I didn't actually go to the parade myself, but Sue was there, and in fact, she took the picture that I used as the thumbnail on the break video. But it went well, according to JR, and he was glad he had the breaks. He said that this is a huge parade. It's bigger than parades that you see in big cities. I mean, it really is. He said there were nearly 100 entries in 10 different groups. In other words, you had, and these are floats. So that means there's nearly 1,000 floats. I mean, there's probably 800 or 900 floats at least in this parade, and it's in Rolla. It blows you away, doesn't it? The streets were lined for a mile, just 10 people thick, 10 people deep. It's a big deal. It's the St. Patrick's Day parade in Rolla. It happens every year, and it's huge. And JR said that Oliver handled himself really, really well. He said the only time that he even got a little squeamish or squirmish or whatever you want to call it was when the marching band came marching by, beating on the drums and the cymbals, and he said he got a little bit antsy about that, but other than that, he said it was fine. He did perfectly, which I kind of figured he would. He seems like he's a horse that's of that mindset that not much bothers him. He just kind of takes it in stride. And after going through that, he's going to even be better. Whenever you have those kinds of experiences with horses, especially, it's a benefit. It really is, because they get more used to more things, and then the out of the ordinary doesn't excite them and scare them. I mean, like you get a high-strung horse, for instance, and the least little thing can just set them off. And I'm sure some of you have probably had those experiences where the horse just takes off and rears up or starts bucking or whatever. And I've never had that happen. Like I said, I had 2 different stallions fall over on top of me on top of multiflora rose bushes both times. It's like, How do you get that to happen? I know you talk about Murphy's Law right there. I mean, it's bad enough when they fall over backwards. And I'm used to having horses fall over backwards. Or I used to be. I'm not anymore, obviously. But back when I was riding them all the time, when a horse would rear up and fall over backwards, I'd just step off and let it fall. I'd just hop off. I had quick reflexes, and I could do that. And I'd just step off, and the horse would just fall over sideways. I'd hold onto the reins. Horse would get up, and I'd get back on him, Well, when they fall over in multiflora rose bushes, you don't have that option. And, that was bad day 2 times. 2 different times. One horse's name was Sundance, and I can't remember which other horse was that did it. Rockaway? I can't remember. It was another horse, but... Anyway, the only reason I remember Sundance because he was my horse temporarily, like they all were, because I never got to really keep any of them. As soon as I got them trained, they went out the door. Anyway, moving on. Lester Cunningham, Jerry, your fixing JR cart brought back some memories in my younger days. Yep, yeah. I've probably. I honestly couldn't tell you how many of those brakes like that I fixed over the years. At least a couple dozen, I would say. At least a couple dozen wheels, at least. Maybe not a couple dozen vehicles, but at least a couple dozen wheels I've put brakes on, I'm sure. And anyway, I hadn't done it in 20 years, though, and so it took a little bit of thinking. So that first one took me a little while, but the second one, I'm not kidding you, I did it in 15 minutes because I knew exactly what to do. It was no big deal at all on the second one. But, I always film the first one because, filming the second one makes you look like you're some kind of expert, and that's just not real, true life, Let's see. Kathy Vole says, thank you for the Dogwood Tree song. Great meaning behind it. Yep. Well, thank you. Yeah, I was more surprised than anybody. You could have knocked me over with a feather when they called us and said, hey, we want you to play. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So we were one of the 20 acts that got to play. It was pretty cool. And it was a full house, 4,500 people in the house. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. That was the second biggest crowd we ever played for. The biggest crowd was when we opened for Charlie Daniels, and they estimated the crowd, and it was an estimate, 9,800 people is what they estimated. So, and I don't doubt it, because it was as far as you could see people, man. I would have estimated it more than that. It was crazy big, and that was really cool. That one will put a little bit of a... you think you get butterflies? I had pigeons, man. There was no butterflies going on in my stomach. It was pigeons. It was amazing. Bill Webb. I bought an F-style mandolin to see if I could reach those chords like to it, but I still can't reach the full G and A chords. This old broke finger just won't cooperate. Yeah, everybody has trouble with that chord. Even, I don't really know how to say it. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to do that. It's hard. But let me show you a couple of pointers. I think I've shown these before, but let me show a couple of pointers. First of all, most people that try to make this weird chord, they try to do it wrong. They're holding the mandolin wrong. They try to do it like this. See, they put their hand pretty much square to the neck. You can't do it that way. It has to be laid across your hand like this. Okay? Then when you lay your hand across there, then your fingers are almost already in line where they need to be. So it has to lay across there like this. That's the first thing. So, and then the other thing is you can't come around like this and do it, with your thumb back here like this, like they might do on a violin or some other instrument. You can't do it that way. You got to let it just lay across your thumb. Let your thumb come around and then just, stretch them out like this. And this way you're not, see, if you do it this way, you're trying to stretch this way and it won't work. You can't stretch your hand that way easily. I can't do it either. But when you do it this way, you're not stretching. The fingers are not that far apart. See, you're just sliding them in a linear line like. It's a completely different feel. So you have to do it this way or it won't work. I don't know. I hope that helps you. Some of you that are struggling with it, maybe that'll help you. Moving on down. Let's see. Michael 2X. What are the payment methods for the auction? Well, quite honestly, with this new auction software, I'm not sure how it's going to work. I don't know if it automatically had a way to pay with PayPal or not. So anyway, here's the options. I can send you a PayPal invoice and you can pay with PayPal, or you can just use a different credit card and pay the invoice with that. So that's option number one. Now, personally, we'd probably prefer you didn't use a credit card because we have to pay at least 3.5% on the credit card. So, that gets to be quite a bit of money. And so if you wanted to mail us a check, that will be fine. But the difference is that we'd have to hold it till the check clears. So you're going to be delayed if you want to do that. We could also do a wire transfer. If you want to go to your bank and wire transfer to my bank, that's fine. We can do it that way. And I'll write her a check then later after, the bottom line is I'm going to write her a check either, no matter how it gets paid. At the end, I'll write her a check. And then for the, for whatever the total is. So really, we're pretty flexible. You can pay almost any way you want to pay. We'll figure it out, I hope that makes sense. Moving on, Christia Thomason. Sadie is really turning into a beauty. Yeah, she's a good dog. She really is. Like I said, if I was looking for a pet, I found her. She's perfect. That's not what really I'm looking for. And I'm sure people say, you're softening up. You're good. No, I'm really not. There's no softening up this old codger when it comes to animals. I'm just not a domestic animal person. I really am not. I got burned out on that as a child. Dad always had 30 to 50, horses, or 30 to 60 sometimes. And he always had 15, 20 dogs. And all I did was shovel, and fill water barrels and fill water troughs and feed animals and clean stalls and, and haul hay and bale hay. I mean, you never seen a guy more burned out on animals than this guy right here. So to me, I don't need a pet. I need a helper. If I got something if the dog's smart and it'll do things, then it's fine. I'm real happy to have it laying around. But otherwise, in other words, Sadie is if she doesn't turn out for me, she'll turn out for Sue. Sue will be perfectly fine with her. But that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to lie about it because, people think, well, you're kind of harsh, Well, sorry, it's just the way it is. If you'd have been raised the way I was raised with animals and endured as many beatings as I've endured over animals, you probably would feel the same way. Actually, you'd probably hate them. See, I don't hate them. I'm amazed I don't hate them. Carolyn Fike, I love the way Sadie takes a happy jump the minute she sees the antler. I think she's going to be just what you need. Yeah, I kind of think so. I mean, I'm still up in the air about it. The thing that bothers me is when, she's kind of getting used to that routine because I've been doing it almost every morning for the last week or so. And when I take her out in the woods, though, she still basically follows right in my shadow. She just stays there. Now, Buck didn't do that. Buck had the instincts to get out and just run around. And if he ran across one, he'd stop and pick it up, And that's what I want her to do. If she could get that instinct to run around, I mean, she's got lab in her. She's half lab, half poodle. And poodles were hunting dogs, too. So, I mean, I'm hoping she'll do that. But quite honestly, it don't look like it right now. Ronald Todd, although it's a slow process, Sadie is slowly coming around. Good job on the dog and the trainer. Well, thank you. She's pretty smart. I mean, after you make her set for the treat, well, then as soon as she brings the next one, she just instantly sets. I mean, she's no dummy. But there's a difference. There's it's a drive thing. She doesn't seem to have much drive, other than when you're talking a treat or something, of course. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. She's still a pup. Bill, please don't bring up Olaf. It'll blow the hour. I don't know what Olaf is. Maybe that's a mistyping. I don't know what. DE, great job, Sadie. It is nice to see green grass. I live too far north. It is brown here. Yeah, it's really cold here right now. And it's supposed to be cold for the next several days, I think. Bill Webb, yep, on my way back from Wisconsin, I'll swing by for a couple days like I did last year. Okay. And the Outboard Tinkerer, hi, Jerry. When do the ticks and chiggers show up in your area? Well, they're probably starting already, right about now. They're not too bad up through turkey season. You'll start to get a few in turkey season. And I think turkey season's coming up, in April. I haven't even looked it up yet. But I might go this year because we're starting to see a lot of turkeys again. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Mother Nature took care of the coyotes. In the harshest of ways, I'm sure. And the turkeys for the last 2 years have really starting to populate here. So I may go turkey hunting this year. Maybe. Not sure. Let's see. Thomas Armstrong says, disc brakes on the next Oliver cart? Having brakes at all on a cart is, to me, a luxury. As I grew up, we had a number of different carts, pony carts, horse carts, different things, and we never had brakes on any of them, And we didn't even have a big horse like Oliver to stop it, So having brakes is kind of a luxury. That's why I wasn't too concerned how well they work, although they work just fine. I mean, they work perfectly fine. But JR did say, and I told JR this, I said, look, I just wanted to let you know, you do need to understand that Oliver can pull this even if you've got the brakes on. I said, he can just take off. I mean, like if something would spook him and he wants to take off, those brakes are not going to hold Oliver. And he goes, yeah, I know that. And so sure enough, he said that happened in the parade. He said Oliver, like it was like he'd have the brakes on, and the car in front, just kind of like Sadie, he learns quick. Oliver learns quick. So when the float in front of him took off, well, Oliver instinctively knows he needs to take off. Well, JR had the brakes on, and Oliver would just take off and slide the cart with the brakes on. And I knew he could. You're talking about a powerful animal. That horse is powerful. He's not even a really big Clydesdale yet. He's got some more growing to do. But honestly, you really are underestimating the power in an animal like that. If you've never been around it, I guarantee you're underestimating the power. The power is crazy. It's really a lot. JR says he's been watching a guy doing logging with his draft horses. He's got 2 draft horses. Now they're bigger, and they're experienced. That makes all the difference. But he's been logging. JR said they were 32 foot long logs, I think it was, 32 foot long. That's a heavy log, let me tell you. And they're like, 3 foot in diameter. And he was pulling those through the woods with his 2 draft horses. Now, that's some power. I'm seriously telling you, you don't know how heavy that is. That's really heavy. And he's pulling that with 2 draft horses. So just imagine that kind of power, and on a lightweight little cart like that. If he decided to take off, he wouldn't even feel that cart. He'd just take off. So there you go. Just thought I'd try to give you a different perspective on that stuff. Because a lot of people also look at it like, oh, you're mistreating him, making him pull that weight. It's nothing. Nothing to him. Absolutely nothing. Let's see. Moving on down. Bill Webb says, you make it look so easy. I guess that chord. Yeah, it's really not terribly hard after you learn it. I mean, it takes practice just like anything. But I've had little bitty 8-year-old girls that could reach the full chord. So if they can do it, surely you can do it, Bill. I don't want to shame you or anything. Ben Boyd, when a horse is jumpy or acts like it's constantly looking for things and might jump out at them, we call that boogering. Yep, that's exactly what the old timers called it. He's boogering. Here in Arkansas, and especially in Arkansas, I had a good family friend that lived in Arkansas, and he was where I first heard that term. His name was Willard Standley. He died a few years ago. Him and my dad were just best friends, and yeah, it's amazing. And in fact, Willard down in Arkansas had work mules. He had a great big old work mule. I don't remember. I think he just called him Jack. I'm not really sure, but it was a giant mule, and so he was really familiar with all that stuff. He was a good old horseman. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, did your dad raise beagles? Yeah, he raised a lot of beagles and sold a lot of beagles. He sold them to just all kinds of hunters all over Illinois, Missouri. They would drive for miles to come and purchase his beagles because he took them out and trained them, and they were really good. And I don't know. He had lots of repeat customers, so that was a big business for him. Rod Marshall 12. How would I clean the dirt out of a 68 guitar finish cracks? Thank you. Well, it's a little difficult to say for sure, but I'd probably start again with just a mild detergent like a dishwashing soap, just a little bit, like a couple drops in, maybe a gallon pail of water, and then wring out your cloth pretty dry and try to wash it out that way. That would probably be my first attempt. And if you can't get down in the crack, then a brush, I hesitate using stiff brush, but like a stiff artist paintbrush, a stiffer, they come in different stiffnesses, and a little stiffer artist paintbrush like that would help you get down in there and clean the cracks out. So you can do it like that. That's probably your overall best bet. I'm hesitant to say to wax it after that, because when you get those cracks like that, if you wax it, well, then the wax gets down in those cracks, and then if you want to refinish it, you can't refinish over the top of it once that wax is on there. But if you're not planning to refinish it, well, then I would go ahead and say put Renaissance wax on it as a top coat. And if it's really badly chipped and really badly cracked, before you even put the Renaissance wax on it, you might want to wipe it down with boiled linseed oil, and then wipe it dry, and then come back in 5 or 10 minutes and wipe it dry again, and let that set a day or two if you wanted, and then put the Renaissance wax on top of that. It's probably the best treatment you could do there. What model Mossberg do you have? Well, if you hadn't asked me, I might have been able to tell you, but honestly, I don't know. It's a fairly common pump model shotgun, Mossberg. I've told the story about how I bought that. I just was on my lunch hour at Central Hardware, and they were selling out their guns. Well, actually, they were going out of business, but one of their first things they did was sell out all their guns. So I just said, hey, I needed a 12 gauge type shotgun. I didn't have one, so I saw it sitting there, and it was a pump, and full choke, and all that. And I said, how much do you want for that? And he says, $95. I said, sold. So I bought it, and I never, really didn't have very much experience shooting a 12 gauge. I mean, my buddy Gary Bickmeyer, who is Sue's cousin, he and I went out to his farm almost every weekend. I had shot his 12 gauge a number of times. But anyway, on the way out to his farm, right after I bought that, I mean, the same weekend that I bought it, we went out there to his farm, and on the way out there, he said, hey, they're having a turkey shoot at the gun club. So we stopped there, and I shot, trying to make sure I tell it right, I shot 3 shells there, and I won 6 chickens. They gave away 2 chickens on each round. So I was the closest to the X 3 out of 3 times that I shot. And then a couple of years later, Sue wanted me to shoot at another turkey shoot at the ball game where she was working, and I didn't really want to do that. And she said, well, I've already told everybody you would win it. I said, well, God, you shouldn't say that, And so anyway, I went there, and I shot 1 shot, and I won the turkey. They were giving away a turkey on that one. So I've shot 4 shells in turkey shoots, and I've won all 4 times, and then I retired it. I said, I'm never going to do that again. But to give you some idea how tight that pattern is on that, there was a large gobbler turkey that was running away, and he was every bit of 60, 65 steps. Now, that's a long way. That's 60, 65 yards. And you typically don't shoot at a turkey that far away. And he was running away, and I had a clear shot at him, and I had BBs in there. At that time, it was legal to still shoot BBs in your shotgun. Nowadays, I think number 4s are the smallest or the largest shots you can use now, number 4s. Well, anyway, be that as it may, it was legal for BBs at that time. So I just pulled up, boom. That old turkey just changed ends, at 65 yards, running away, and I hit him with 1 BB right in the back of his head. We had him for turkey dinner. Let's see, moving on down. Robert M. says, have faith in Sadie. She will be the best dog you've ever had. Well, there's that potential. There is that potential, and I hope you're right. I trust me, I hope more than you would know that you're right. It would just be awesome. David Tharp watched a YouTube video where a person used the same tests they use to measure the horsepower of a car engine to measure the horsepower of a draft horse. The particular draft horse had 18 horsepower. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that, not even that much. They are one powerful beast. Yeah, and I mean, even a regular horse, that little cart that JR's pulling, we had just regular size horses, and they were pulling carts like that anywhere and everywhere, and they had no trouble whatsoever. So for Oliver to pull that, that honestly, it's really hard to try to give you an analogy, but it'd be like you, I don't know, pushing a toy car across a table versus going out there and trying to push your car across the parking lot. That's what it's like. It's Oliver, that's like a toy car. I mean, it's nothing to him. He doesn't even know it's back there. I know you think that's not true, but it's true. It's really, especially if he gets excited and spooked, then it's 100% true. That won't even slow him down a bit. Not even a bit. If he took off running and say he ran through, he could run through anything and pull that cart through anything. He'd tear that cart all to pieces. Ask me how I know these things. I've been there, done that. Yeah, I've pretty much had everything you can imagine happen with a horse over the years. Just almost anything you can imagine. Let's see. Bill Rhodes, the reason I ask about the Beatles, we have a friend from St. Louis that Beatles. You meant for it to be Beagles. Okay, I got it now. I was going to say I don't remember anybody asking me about the Beatles. Anyway, he says that bought Beagles out to hunt with us when was my name lady? She was a heck of a dog. Yeah. Had a friend from St. Louis that brought Beagles out. Okay. Yeah, well, it's very possible that he got them from my dad because he was big into that, and he was very well known for it. And he had lots of repeat customers, lots and lots of them. I mean, they would come back every year and buy more dogs, you know. Bruce Ducker says he's thinking of getting a Model 500. Well, that might be what it is. I honestly don't remember the model number. Just don't remember it. But it's a great gun. I mean, it's it's a cheap gun as guns go. It's not one of those high dollar shotguns. But shoot, you couldn't beat it with a stick. That's the best shooting 12 gauge shotgun I've ever seen in my life. It really is. It's just amazing what you can do with that gun. Rod Marshall 12. Super glue the cracks actually, then sand level. Big thanks. Well, I'm going to say I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. Super gluing the cracks, if you're really super careful and you're really super good at it, it's probably okay. But I'm telling you right now, you can screw up a whole day's worth of stuff in about a heartbeat. I'm like in a heartbeat. You can make the biggest mess with super glue on a finish. Now, if you're going from scratch, you ain't got no finish on it, well, just pour it on there and go to town. But if you're, trying to repair a finish, super glue can be your friend or your absolute worst nightmare you've ever thought of. And I know that black and white fact too, because I've told this story before, but there was a young guy in the shop, and he was watching me. I wasn't even working on his instrument. I was working on somebody else's instrument. He was watching me, and he saw me use CA glue to fill something or do something. I don't remember what it was now, but anyway, he saw me do that. So he went home, and he thought he could do that on his mandolin. Well, he brought me the mandolin to fix. Because it messed it up big time. So I'm telling you, you got to be careful with super glue. Really be careful. The guy's name was Floyd Asbury. Well, I don't recall that name, but I'm not the best with names anyway. Floyd, trying to remember if Dad had any people that I remember named Floyd, but I don't recall anybody by that name. So, but that don't mean it's not the case, because he had lots of customers I never met. So you never know. Guys, that's going to be it. I think what I'm going to try to do today, I've said this before, but I think today I might actually get to it, since I don't have to put brakes on Oliver's cart. I might go down there and try to work on that water wheel. I'm not sure those 1-bys are dry enough, but on the other hand, I'm thinking they don't have to be real dry because they're going to be coated in water all the time. But they've been drying in the shop now for at least a week, and it don't take long inside there for them to dry down pretty good. I checked them 3 or 4 days ago, and they were at I think 15%. Of course, that's checking on the surface. That's not all the way through the piece of wood. Excuse me. But anyway. So I may go ahead and try to do that today, and I'll be using Leo's notes from the Netherlands that he sent me to cut those pieces for that water wheel. Bill Mumbo, Olaf loves hide glue. Agree with Jerry. Rod Marshall 12. Okay, Jerry, I'll practice on the back first. Yeah, I'd be really, 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 really careful with this CA glue. You can't be too careful. In fact, if you've got an obvious crack, I'd tape off both sides of the crack and get the tape right to the edge of the crack. And make sure the tape's pushed down really good, because that glue will go under the tape. Ronald Todd, I once spilled a pint bottle of super glue on my kitchen table. It's still there. Yeah, it's bad stuff. I'm telling you, that stuff will ruin your day in a heartbeat. A heartbeat. It don't take long at all. Guys, that's it. Thanks for being here. We will see you tomorrow with something else.